Paul Potts, welcome to New Zealand.
Thanks very much.
You did an amazing show for iHeartRadio and Coast last night. What's it like performing in New Zealand compared to performing overseas?
It's still really hard everywhere, really. And I love what I do, but sometimes it scares the living daylights out of me. But I think it needs to do that. I think you need to be slightly scared, because I think otherwise it kind of doesn't mean anything. But I always get a great reaction here. People are always really friendly and always get a great reactions. And I toured here last year and really enjoyed it. So hopefully I'll get to come back and do the same again. Awesome.
You're actually coming back to New Zealand to do a little camper van tour.
Yeah.
Is there one place in particular that you're excited to come and visit?
Well, everything kind of depends on weather, and that can be variable here, as just as much as in the UK sometimes. Last time I saw quite a lot of the Lake Tekapo and Pukaki and Mount Cook on the Canterbury side, and
cool.
So I'll probably return to that area because it never looks the same twice.
Yeah.
You get it in different lights, slightly different time of the year, slightly different weather. So I'm trying to be organised and trying to sort of plan my route, but best laid plans and all that, you just have to see what happens.
Totally, that's awesome. Your latest album, Home, is out now. For someone who hasn't listened to the album yet, what can they expect from it?
Well, the unexpected, really. I've always felt very strongly that music isn't about genres. It's about what you connect to, what sounds good to you. And so that it's a slightly eclectic mix. You've got sort of operatic standards like Non ti scorderà di me and a few others, but there's also iconic rock songs like Desperado and one of my wife's best ideas, which is Guns N' Roses' November Rain. Which when I first, when I was planning this record, what I do is I download on iTunes loads of different bits of music and sort of trim down the playlist from about 400 down to about 25, and then trim it down again.
That's crazy.
And when I listened to November Rain, I thought it's a great song, but how do you do it justice? So when we did record it, I made sure that we kept the longest of the two guitar solos in. Cool. Because it's such a great solo, you have to keep the longest one in.
Yeah.
I know the producer was thinking the second solo would have been better because it leads into the bridge better, but for me it had to be the longest one. And I performed that on stage in the UK last year, and that went down incredibly well. I was a bit nervous about it because when you get you crossover style singer, the audiences, well, they're very varied actually, but you just wonder whether they'll take to the idea of having a lead guitar on stage.
Yeah. Because last night you sang, I think it was Foo Fighters?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you quite enjoy the cross genres?
Yeah, that was another track that was my wife's idea, and it's a great song, and I knew that one would work.
Yeah.
The first time I listened to it, I knew that one would work. But there's a lot of rock songs that work in many different styles, and you can't always be defined by the style of music you usually perform. And I think it's great to just take on something for the hell of it in some ways, but also to listen to what speaks to you. And I had great fun recording the album. Spent a huge amount of time on it. I think we worked on it for about 2 years, and did the arrangements and then recorded them, then re-recorded them, but I love the record.
Awesome, that's amazing. 2 years is a long time to be working on something, so it's awesome that it's out now and everybody can listen to it. What is your favourite song to sing in the shower? Do you sing in the shower?
I was checking words the other day in the shower in the hotel, and the trouble is I was singing at the top of my voice, and then my ears were ringing when I got out.
That's awesome. I guess it would be quite nice for people who are potentially staying in the hotel room next door hearing your amazing voice in the morning.
Well, they might have been able to hear me in the corridor, because I found out this morning that where the shower is actually adjoins onto the corridor, because that was the only reason why I knew there was a fire alarm. because the room was quite well soundproofed, and it sounded like the alarm was coming from somewhere else, and I thought that flipping alarm, it's annoying the hell out of me. Why don't they switch it off? Because I thought it was another building, and it turned out to be our building, and here am I on the 14th floor, and I ended up leaving. I ended up getting dressed and coming down in the lift about half an hour after the alarm started going off.
Oh, wow.
And it was only putting my head to the wall that I heard, because for some reason it wasn't working in the room.
Oh. Are you allowed to use lifts and fires?
Well, you're not supposed to.
Just do it
Right,
anyway.
but the lift was working, so I used it.
Good call, good call. When did you first kind of come to that realization that you can sing?
I've just always sung, really. It's just something that I've always loved doing, and it made me feel good. So I mean, I didn't know whether I was really any good at it in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I did quite a lot of sort of local competitions as a young chorister, and a little bit more as my voice matured. But I never imagined that it would become my career.
That's cool. Because when you were on Britain's Got Talent, you didn't want to leave your job for a while. How long was it before you actually decided to take that leap of faith?
I was halfway through my first US tour when I handed in my resignation. I'd taken a career break, and because when I first came here in 2007, I was still employed by the mobile phone company.
Wow.
I was still employed by them at that point. I was on a career break. The thing is, you never do. I mean, I still have the same opinion now as I did 8 years ago. It's scary to think 8 years. I'm almost geriatric now.
That's a bit harsh.
8 years ago, and I still feel the same way. And that is, things can change incredibly quickly. You can't take anything for granted. And I'm very fortunate to have had so long in the industry, because a lot of artists, from all sorts of backgrounds, not just talent show contestants, but artists from the normal route through, to get 8 years is incredible. I mean, anything over a couple of years is always, to even get a shot at it, to be honest, is a massive opportunity.
That's awesome. Coming from the Britain's Got Talent kind of thing, do you still keep in touch with your mentors and things like that from the show?
I've run into Simon quite a few times. I haven't seen him in a while, but when it's always great to see them when I do run into them. I haven't seen Piers for a very long time, because he had some time over in the US, but he described me as balding. I actually have to have my hair cut every 4 weeks, because otherwise it goes out of control. I don't get the curls that you've got. See, it just curls up at the back like an archetypal 11-year-old chorister. It was like Aled Jones when he was still sweet and innocent. He's not anymore. So I have to have my hair cut really regularly, or else it just gets out of control.
I was just about to say, it really doesn't look like you're balding at all.
I just had a really bad haircut, basically, the day before.
Just one of those one-hit wonders. Amazing. If there was one person that you could collaborate with, who would you most like to collaborate with?
I don't know. Great singers, there aren't, there are some that aren't huge, a number that are truly great, but I'm on the same playlist as, I'm on the same bill at a charity show in London as Lionel Richie in a few weeks. It'd be great to collaborate with him, and Celine Dion would be great. I mean, it's a bit obvious, but
she is an amazing talent, though.
Yeah, massive voice.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you enjoy your camper van tour around New Zealand.
Yeah, I hope I don't get in too many people's way.
The white nomad.
Well, the green nomad.
Is it green?
It's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those funny green camper vans.
Oh, that's awesome. Even better.